Good morning, brothers and sisters. Brother Paul with the Universal Peace Officers coming to you today from Valley Forge, Pennsylvania. Valley Forge, Pennsylvania, bringing you today's Grounded with God. I've been down on vacation here, visiting family for the last 4 or 5 days, and as I've done that the last day or two, I've really been kind of thinking about my roots. You know, what am I rooted in? You know, I come back to where I grew up and I get reminded of the roots of my family and get reminded of the roots of my friends and the community and the schools and the places and the things that I did and the things that were poured into me, you know. So I've got natural roots and earthly roots, and what I mean by that is nature and nurture. Like, I was born with certain roots from my bloodline, and then I inherited other certain roots from the way that I was raised and where I was raised. And to come back and spend time with family and go visit some friends and go back to some old places and old houses I've lived, it brings back a lot of memories, and it gives me time to look back and reflect on the roots in my life and where they came from and how they established me to be who I am and how they can help me if I remember to stand firm in them in the tough times of life. And then I got to looking at all of our roots, you know, my roots and my family and my brothers and sisters, and it's easy to trace, and we can go back and figure it out, and you can do all the other things to go to other layers of your family with the DNA tests. But when you really break it down and go all the way back into time and look at where do our roots come from, what do our ancient people of our culture say and believe, and if you go all the way back in time, there's a lot of different cultures that have a lot of different beliefs, but there's a lot of similarities. And basically, I guess what I looked at today is when I go back to my roots, all the way back to God and his kids, and the fact that I descended through some type of way, bloodline, that I am in connection and related to God and to Jesus and to God as I understand him. You know, there's so many different ways that we look at life, but in reality, we all come from the same family. We were all born into God's family, and, you know, we may not be able to go trace every bloodline because of all the times of history and things that got lost, but if we really think about it, you know, we all are related. We're all connected. So when we can remember that our roots go that deep and that wide, and we can sit still in it and remember that we're all kids of God, and if we're all kids of God, then we're all brothers and sisters, and maybe that'll make it a little easier for us to love one another. So I'm going to continue to be reminded that I got to love God and I got to love myself if I want to be able to love others. And I got to go back and look at my roots, you know, and I was refreshed my memory with a little scripture this morning. And Jesus says to remain in me and I will remain in you. For a branch cannot produce fruit if it is cut off from the vine, and you will not be fruitful unless you remain in me. So Jesus is the vine, and he tells us to remain in him. And, you know, where are your roots with your family, with where you were raised, but more importantly, where are your spiritual roots? You know, where am I rooted? Where do I get my groundedness? Where do I get my centeredness? And I got to remember that we're all God's kids, and that my peace and my centeredness and my groundedness comes from the fact that I'm rooted in him and that he's the one that's going to allow me to be fruitful. So God, as I close today here at this beautiful park, let me be reminded of the roots that I have in you and being a part of your family. And let me not forget to pray for love, peace, and compassion for myself, Lord. Fill me, my family and friends, with love, peace, and compassion, and fill all of the earth and all of humanity with love, peace, and compassion. God bless America from Valley Forge, Pennsylvania, and peace officers out.